Wow.
Anybody got a lighter?
Oh, how many people are here? Hi, everybody. So beautiful to see you. You're amazing. You inspire me how you are working together day by day. It's amazing.
I don't feel the same about you.
Yeah, because just yesterday, Wednesday, I saw you were doing the weekly Wampum ceremony. And of course, I couldn't be there, but I was looking a little bit sometimes, and I was very, very committed. Thank you.
Nothing we can do for the great law of peace to be in effect.
We ought to be committed.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get started then right away because earlier everybody thought that we were meeting with you at 4:30. So everybody was ready for that, you know, so now that it's later, we're going to have to move along quicker.
Okay, yes.
Translating?
I'm agreeing.
Is there anybody else, is it necessary for Edith to translate?
But let me see if Morella is going to be here, but Morella speaks really good English.
Okay. All right. Well, then for now, we'll do the opening. And when they get here, you ask them, and if it's necessary, then we'll do it. Okay.
Morella is coming. Sabía que iba a haber tanta gente.
Gazita Rio, you just Kahawinoji on Dudgets going to star, not that running. That in the word do Gorunga Gari, I guess. Yet the sort of Asatanka Garakwa, done yet in the stars, young Hunzagi, done a Guego Scutnik and Ungwe. That in the word do a Guades and Egan Yatter the Gerdo, done a Guego or Quadzri or Nuka Soa. That in the word do a Guego. I forgot to say this. Aguego, we didn't get the proper translation yet. Aguego o Quadzere Ganungwe, to all the mothers in all strains of life. So as always, just to identify what is said in the Honda Gadi Wadekwa, we always begin giving thanks to Sky Woman, the great spiral of creation, which is everything. You know, no matter what you can imagine, there's always something a little bit more. You can always go a little bit further, a little bit bigger. So whatever you can imagine, plus even what more is what is beyond. And we identify this as Sky Woman because as we are developing, just like children, as our bodies are growing, it is growing out of the design of Sky Woman. When we figure if we start off this big, well, how do we get this big? Where does that stuff come from to make us that big? Well, this is very important when we're thinking on this level, when we're speaking of specifically of the midwives and the work that midwives do in this world. So we have to have our minds concentrated on that level of creation. So we make the link from Sky Woman, the great spiral of creation. We give thanks to her as it's she who has given us spirit. From there to the beating heart of our Mother Earth, to our grandmother Moon, as it is she who regulates the flow of the lifeblood in all things. We know it is she who regulates the flow of the oceans, the rivers, not just the tides, but also the waters within us. You may not know this. We may not ever be cognizant of this, but when the moon is over us, whether it's in a full moon at night or if it's a new moon at day, when the new moon is directly over us, even our eyeballs are expanding. Even in our brain, the water in our brain is being affected, is being pulled. So we have to think on every level that what is affected by the beating heart of our grandmother, of our Mother Earth being our grandmother Moon. And we give thanks to her as it is she who has given us blood. From there to our Mother Earth, we give thanks to, of course, regardless of what language we speak, all of us, where we are in all the different places. We may think from the perspective of, say, geographically speaking, say from the perspective of a map. We're spread out all over the place. Maybe not too much like around the world. We're kind of focused in one hemisphere. But regardless, each of us where we are at, this is the connection that we have via internet. It enables us to see each other. But the reality is that without the internet, we are connected through the living force of our Mother Earth. And so we are all sisters and brothers in this way, regardless of where we are born from, what language we may speak, whatever we imagine divides us, because this is, as we know, right now in the world, this is the problem. Everyone is imagining a bazillion and one reasons why we are divided, why we should remain to be divided. But when we're thinking in the levels of the life cycle of to persevere onwards, creation, not just us as individuals, but as a collective creation of our Mother Earth, we know we must move onwards. And for this process, the things that we are forgetting are the things that will cripple us as humans, as a species, as part of the collective body of our Mother Earth. So as we know, people are forgetting how to bring babies into this world. And I'm not talking about the process of making them, talking about the sacred process of what the midwives do, of how to bring babies into the world in the natural way, of to do it in the good way, where the baby is first and foremost, ideal situation would be into the hands of the grandmother, and then into the hands of the mother. No males to ever be in that process. But when we know that this, the circumstances of today, that everybody, again, is forgetting our original instruction. So today you have the majority of everybody, the majority of all women are afraid to have children in the natural way now, because our minds are so polarized in this male dominant way of thinking that it must be done this way according to the medical industry. And so we know that the medical industry is crippling humanity, crippling our knowledge, crippling our ability to continue to be able to continue to rejuvenate ourselves. As we know, just as the example, if given enough time over the generations, if you keep giving women cesarean C-sections to have their babies, eventually, over a few generations, there will be alterations made to the female body. The female pubic bone, the hip bone, will no longer be able to accommodate that birthing process. Now, when this is not something that is like, say, we're guessing, we know that breeding is a reality. You can breed something into anything. You can breed something into cows. You can breed a cow. As we know, cows are not natural selection. They are man-made. And so if man can make, man can unmake also. And so man can undo the knowledge of what the midwives are struggling to return to the minds, hearts and minds of the people. And so we keep all of this in mind, and we give our thanks. We call upon our ancestors. Oh, wait, did I say our mother? I didn't identify. We give our thanks to our mother because it is she who has given us body. From there, we identify to all the women, from the newest born baby girl to the eldest grandmother, as they carry the sacred title of life giver into the world and are to be honored and respected as such. And so their process is the most sacred process in creation, because without it, of course, I wouldn't exist. None of us would exist. And so the sacred process of our mother's reproductive system, it has been made taboo. It has been made to be something that we hide from, that we don't want our children to know, that we don't want the natural thing to be like, we don't want this knowledge to be conveyed any longer from one generation to the next. It is like we have become in the life rejuvenation process. It's like we have become capitalists, and capitalists hoarding, stealing everything from everyone else, trying to keep it for us. This is like what we are doing right now, the collective of humanity, keeping the knowledge of how to be human, how to procreate in the proper way, and how to bring life into the world in the proper way. We are preventing this from being known to the future generations. The faces yet beneath the earth, as a result, may not even have an earth to rise from. And so when we speak, what we are here to speak of, this birthing process, the good work that midwives all around the world are doing, that we must keep all of this in our minds, from the level of the realm of Sky Woman to the level of the realm of the individual life giver who is bringing a child into this world, into this realm. So we give thanks that we can even come together on this way, in this forum. We give thanks that we can come together to speak of these things, because Valentina, as you said, that, oh, when you joined us, you said, oh, you're surprised to see all the people here. This is what we are supposed to do. Each of us are doing what we are supposed to do. And so we are seeing the people who are doing what they are supposed to do in this world. And so these are the people that must work on all things together. We know that what the midwives are working on, that it is not separate from the river that the people are trying to save in their territory, or the trees that they're trying to save from being clear cut. It is all part and parcel to the same struggle, the struggle to keep our humanity, to prevent the downfall of not only the human species, but of creation itself upon our Mother Earth. And then by extension, when we think of our Mother Earth as a single cell, like a single cell in your body can contract cancer, and that could then extrapolate to the entire body. So we are literally here talking about not just something in our backyards, not just something in our country, in our continent, on our Mother Earth. We are talking about all of creation. The responsibility of maintaining and ensuring that the faces yet beneath the earth will have a creation to rise from lies upon those who will rise to take responsibility. And so we give thanks for Valentina, all the work that you are doing together, all the midwives, all that good work. We're not there to see it. You're not there to see the work that we're doing, but when we come together, we're grateful that we see you, because we know you're doing that work. You know that we're doing other work. We know that Harold, that Angel, that all of us, we're all doing work in different areas that are part and parcel of what we are all collectively doing and what is beneficial to us all. So we got to give thanks. We have to be thankful for the work that has been given to us. And this is the words that my father had said. Agwatsanuni. What is the term now? Anyways, the meaning was, he was happy. And at the age that he was when he was saying this, he was basically on his deathbed. He was happy for the work that Yunkiat Dizu, those that created us, had laid there for him, before him to carry out. And so we also are grateful and thankful that we can see the work that is laid before us, and we can find our responsibility and therefore become the true identity we are supposed to be. We rise to the challenge. So Nyawagoa, everybody, for being here. Everybody listen very attentively. Each of us practice proper etiquette within the council, and we'll get through everything nice and smoothly. Nyawagoa. So who's
Well, we are here to continue with the last reconstitution that we had a terrible internet connection. So Valentina, and now it's, what's your name?
Yes, good evening again. I'm very, very happy to join all of you in this time with a good connection. And with Morella, I want to introduce you guys to her because she's my partner. She's midwife, and we've been since January. We've been working together, and 1 week ago, last Thursday, we have a very beautiful ceremony that we did to give thanks. Actually, was more like an offering for the Mother Earth to be very grateful for our job, and because we are kind of building our own identity here in town, in the community, but not just here in San Cristobal and surroundings too, and kind of, yeah, we've been working together in a very beautiful way. I will give her also a chance to talk because it's very beautiful, her wisdom and voice. And 1 week ago we had this amazing ceremony when we gathered with some other friends who are lot supporting us, and now we are keeping doing our job, but we released kind of the project to the outside because we've been working more into the just people who knows us through somebody else. We've been only very under, you know, on the surfers, underground. and now we decide to go more into the light in the way we expose ourselves a little bit more. So for that reason, we are asking a lot of permissions. We are asking a lot of help and protections because, like you say, the midwifery that we are doing is not part of the health system. It's not, we are not certificate. We don't have this. We are just connected with the grandmothers, with the fire, with the moon, with the earth, with ourselves, with our own heart. But that's why when we expose ourselves more for the community, we also are asking to really attract very good birds, but also not just birds. We accompany women, a lot of beautiful family, beautiful people who really need us, and that we can connect and to open up our instincts so we can really know when and with whom to connect. You know, we need to be very awake all the time because our support, we will say, our recognition is in the spirituality, is in the elements, in the, you know, in the other world, not in this system, of course. So we really ask a lot of protection. That's why it's very important for us to follow some kind of some connection, some guidance from grandmothers, grandfathers, but mostly from midwives, no? So it's very emotional because since we kind of print some little triptychs, flyers that we did, we haven't delivered any, but since we got some physical thing that we prepared, that we organize about our services, I think that we do, also asking for people who want to kind of like donate for us to do more community service. And we are exploring many things, but the work that we are doing together, I am very proud and very happy because we kind of open a new space in the world, a new space in this dimension where the kind of accompaniment that we are doing is something that doesn't come properly it doesn't come just from the mind and from some structure, but we open that space where just the people that comes with us, they just open so many, como un abanico? Un abanico?
Like a rainbow.
They open all kind of
Opportunities.
See, they open all kind of different topics that they are living. So we don't need to, we are just listening. We are just listening and connecting with life. So I'm very happy to see all of you. And I would like to pass a little bit
Hello, everyone. It's so nice to meet you. I've been hearing about you from Valentina for some time. As she has described to you, we've been working together for some months now. Just so that you know a little bit about myself. Well, I'm originally from Mexico, but I spent the last 20 years in South America, in Chile, where I began following my calling, which has been midwifery and working around the topic of women's health issues and just working at the community level. And then I decided to come back to my land and reconnect with everybody here. And I was so lucky to find Valentina, who has been like a bridge to bring me back to my roots. And it's been such an awakening process for us. I had the chance to well, she has shown me a lot about what's going on here locally, what is needed. Like, she has really given me insight into what things are happening here and in which ways we can combine, you know, our work together and also the work of other midwives that are here, the way that we can build a strong community of midwives so that we can support women and their families and their babies. And I just feel so blessed to be here and work with her and the other women, and of course to meet other people who know about our work. And we are also very interested in the work that everybody else does as well, and would like to also support in whichever way we also could do that. And yeah, just thank you for having us here today. And I will pay close attention so that I can learn more about the work that you're doing. And thank you for letting me be here. Thank you very much.
You know, when you say you want to, I forget if you said what you see, you want to see how you can support. Actually, what you are doing is supporting us. I'll tell you, for some time, we have known of the dangers. You know, we know there's dangers in that for you. But for some time, probably I'd say maybe about at least 2 years, we've been like almost like sending that energy to.
Wait.
We're frozen.
Oh, okay, there you go. It's a kind
of.
Okay, no.
We listen you.
We're a little bit frozen here. Hang on. We got 2 computers to work off.
Yeah.
But your video. Your cameras.
There you go. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. For at least about the last 2 years, we've been sending this energy to you. We've really wanted, knowing that it's dangerous to some degree, we've been wanting you to come out, to come out to the public level, you know, to come out more anyways. And now that we hear or that this is happening, then this is how in fact you are supporting us, because to see you do this, we know we are strengthening. We know that for you to do this, that you have to be stronger than you were last year, that you got more knowledge, more strength. So this is, again, how we support each other. We are thankful to the work that what all our sisters and brothers are doing. Tonight we're here for mostly to see through how we can assist through the blockchain, what we can do like via internet basically. But before we go into that, just a couple of things to see what we here and others can do immediately to help. So I'll suggest this to you. If you don't already have a short, brief video, like a commercial of you standing maybe in front of where you work or whatever, no? Okay, well, to whatever degree you can, to whatever degree you feel comfortable coming out more to the public, that if you can do that in a video, even if you're blocked out like a silhouette, that would actually make more of a statement. That the people would be just a black silhouette identifying that it is not safe. You know, this would actually be beneficial for people to see that, well, you are clearly not feeling safe in that environment, to the point of that you would have to have your image blocked out, and maybe even perhaps the sound of your voice altered. And if that is possible, this would help in a big way, because then we can share that on the social media, and just to identify these are the people, these are the things that we support, that we work with, that must be brought back. All the peoples must work for this. Somebody somewhere has to be brave enough to take that first step. And if it is dangerous, then it has to be done in a way that, like I said, that would make you feel safe. Maybe, like I said, a silhouette, a blacked out silhouette of you, maybe even voice alteration. Anyways, that's what we could do to help right away. Just another thing to identify. I think we may have talked about this in the past. I don't know if you're doing this. You have to create your own birth certificates, something that you give to the people that come to you, and it has to be different than birth certificates from the state. It has to be something that could be verifiable and unquestionable. So in your birth certificate, of course, you have to have all the general information, parents, grandparents, the community that they're from, but you will also have to have witnesses. The same way that like in the non-native world, that they bring their children to get baptized. And when they do that, they have like a godparent there to vouch for that life, that if anything happens, they will take care of that life. Now on the birth certificate, it won't be for that purpose, that they will be like stepping in like a so-called godparent, but they will be for verification's sake, that this person, and it should be two people, one should be, of course, a life giver, another one should be a life protector, and they should be people who are not immediate family, but who are close enough to be able to say, yes, this is who this person is. So it would be, for those in that manner, this birth certificate will be like an identification that will supersede anything from the state. Because as the state starts to, as we see things start to come apart, things like this, bureaucratic things, will start to diminish. So it becomes our responsibility to keep track of stuff like that. So this is what, I don't know if you're doing it already or if you're planning on doing it, but it will be something that you will have to do to be able to substantiate the need and to legitimize yourself. Anyways, I'll just leave it at that, and we'll go, I guess, to, what are we going to Harold?
Well, maybe they want to reply.
Oh, unless you want to reply to that.
No, I just want to leave in some words. I would like to have this translation about qué decía del video, cómo es que tiene que ser ese video. Como que me perdí un poco entre el video. Pero lo del el certificado de nacimiento sí lo entiendo porque ya lo hemos platicado antes, ¿no?
Sí. En cuanto al video decía, bueno, si ustedes se pueden poner como enfrente tal cual para decir esto es lo que hacemos, esto es quienes somos, pero después dicen, a lo mejor está peligroso el asunto, entonces tal vez ¿por qué no lo hacen en forma de silueta? Así como en los videos que hacen anónimos, ¿no? De que ponen a la persona así como de perfil oscura y que también le cambian el tono de la voz. Entonces tal vez tendría más impacto para decir justamente, bueno, quisiéramos ponernos de frente, pero tal vez no lo podemos hacer, pero aún así les pasamos el mensaje. Entonces, nada más es como una herramienta comunicacional que podrían ustedes hacer como una mini capsulita para que nosotros también lo podamos rodar en las medias sociales y que podamos dar más difusión al trabajo que están haciendo. Entonces, ofrece eso como trabajo inmediato de apoyo comunicacional.
Suena bien. Sí, suena bien.
Okay, well, if you don't have nothing to say on that, maybe we can go right away to Desiree and Harold, that are the ones that have been working for a while in something that is called a platform. And this platform is exactly for those purposes of gathering people that need to communicate. And as we learned from you, Valentina, is that the midwives have that need, like they are all spread over the places and they have sometimes bad access to internet, or they don't know very well the technologies, but indeed they will need a safe space to be able to communicate. So it wouldn't be maybe like a mainstream place in which all of the information that they are portraying can be like owned by somebody else or even stolen, therefore by that somebody else. So that would be something that would belong to use. So I won't get any further on that because I am not the expert at all on that. So Desiree and Harold, you go ahead.
Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, hey. It's an honor to be here, as always. It's a very precious council for us. We'll start by introducing ourselves. My name is Harold. I'm the son of Gail and Gloria and Francis. And they're from Mexico territories. And, as of now, I'm temporarily under the protection of the Bear Clan of the Ginyaga Nation, the Longhouse Confederacy, Five Nations Confederacy. And this is an exciting council with the good internet connection. But I'll let Desiree introduce herself.
Good to see everyone. Skanagoa. I'm Desiree, daughter of Nebia and granddaughter of Porchuco. I'm temporary member of the Turtle Clan in the Life Givers Nation. And this is so surreal for us. Like, we've been talking about this project. Like, you guys don't understand how much we talk about the same thing. You think we're crazy people. So it's just really good to hear the opening and Valentina's words and everyone so far. It's like really validating, and I'm pretty excited to share, or he's going to share mostly.
Yeah, but she'll definitely be adding in where she can. Actually, we'll hopefully be revolving a lot of it around her, because if I'm not mistaken, from the very first time we saw Valentina speaking of the emergency, the midwife emergency, with the emotion that she spoke about it with and how she articulated the things going on there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Desiree has been inspired to it
changed our future, like just the way we operate through life. It really did. We've been living this, but I don't know if we've actually said it. It's really something that drives us in.
Well, I think immediately you wanted to be a midwife as well, right?
There's so much responsibility. I have to respect it. So, you know.
Right. But this is the angle that I plan to take today, because like yourselves, we also had in mind a collaborative platform, and like yourselves, we're very much just listening and looking for help, and looking for combining efforts in whichever way that we can. And so the angle that I'll take is, to your point of young Native girls getting accessibility to indigenous midwifery, how important that is, and you articulated the manuals that you're putting out, and we're interested, of course, in all the efforts that you're involved in, and how they can be combined with what we have in mind.
We're eager to help.
Right. But the angle that I'll take is, Desiree's, looking for training in indigenous midwifery, right? There's an online platform that allows her to find it through the tour of Wampum, like we are in now, and then eventually through local midwives. Currently maybe this isn't possible in our local area, but maybe there's an indigenous young girl next to you in Chiapas that could use the connection to the grandmothers, of course, with being protected by yourselves, but also another layer of protection through what we feel is a great filtering process, that is this process, the Tour Wampum dialogue, getting folks trained in consensus protocols, matrilineal consensus protocols, and so I can share my screen and show you what we have in mind. We built out something that and hopefully be similar to what we can achieve. 1 second here. This is interesting stuff too. Hopefully we can get to it.
A million tabs. No.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't have that much right now.
I'm known for my tabs.
It's very little.
1 second. Here we go.
A lot of good visuals, so don't worry.
Yeah. And here we are. Okay. And so this is we have a website up, but this is a new design that we have in mind. And so here's the first page that, you know, someone like Desiree or an indigenous girl or young girl of any background near you would be able to find indigenous midwifery. And so this is the first page that they would see, and it's describing some of the things that we have in mind that can be a part of systems that are managed by our mothers, by matrilineal councils. And what we mean by systems is very simple. You know, it's similar to what, you know, Edith has mentioned about securing the communications between people, even when things go down. Is what, you know, the technology that was mentioned, blockchain, can be used for a lot of different things, and we hope that we can show some of those different things today, introducing the project. But you know, the overall goal, you know, would be to take something like the privacy that's necessary and the protection of the grandmothers that you always make sure to mention, that we also hold very near and dear in terms of importance. But also what Stuart mentioned, right, can be a part of an important piece to the system that goes along with indigenous midwifery in terms of a birth certificate. You know, you mentioned certification. If there's loopholes that we can find that ensure that, you know, everything is through a Wampum dialogue only, everything is through matrilineal council terms only. We've learned through the creation of the League story from the Longhouse that there's a lot of transformative power in, you know, maintaining autonomy, right, of the Wampum, not interfering with each other. And so, you know, if we're able to establish a certification in that realm, or we're able to establish a birth certificate on this realm, there's a lot of transformative potential with the systems, the horrible systems that are around us, because there'll be, you know, no interference between these matrilineal managed councils and the systems that they're managing, like indigenous midwifery systems, and the non-native systems around. In fact, there's actually, you know, a good potential based on, you know, a 2,000-year history of transforming these systems around us towards peace, towards truth, that is in the great law of peace. And so,
I got a question for you. Can you go back down to show the continent, show like, okay, right there where Mexico would be? Okay, right there, can you put an image of, I don't know if you could find an image of like a birth taking place, like a mother where you could see a baby and a woman
of course,
receiving the baby. If you can put that right like in just west of the Gulf of Mexico,
right,
in the purple, yeah, like in the land part, more a little north from there, almost like yeah, just beneath the writing thing. Yeah, if you can put it there, then that would be, it'd be perfect for this.
Yeah, of course, of course. Of course, this is just a draft. We love input of removing or adding anything that anybody sees here, and yeah. So let me get into, you know, what someone like Desiree would see, and this is to Edith's point in terms of data privacy. You see that this says powered by Blockstack, and we have this logo combined with the Wampum here. And this is a blockchain company that we've been working with, not working for, but working with on our terms for the last year, maybe more now, and really getting an understanding of what we see as a technology that can bleed over into the next versions of world trade, the next versions of industry, and the next version of the internet. And so this login here, even though they've made it look more recently, they made it look like any other login, it actually is very important to the entire system. It's a part of the system that Edith mentioned in terms of being able to protect the way that we communicate with each other in the things that we do online. And so once a Desiree gets into the website, this is what we put together. And
Mostly Harold. He built every image you see.
It's not true.
Every color, he has done it.
Not true. There's nothing that
I help make it look pretty, but
yeah, you don't see anything here that hasn't went through Desiree first.
no, we do work together.
But yes, this is some of the things that the House has already been working on in terms of we found out about the workshops that the Longhouse does. The Longhouse has mentioned initiatives regarding land reclamation or bringing the buffalo back, and of course moon protection. And so we've kind of started to put these things as in this case different applications in and of themselves. And so this first website that people come into contact with is actually an app store that you can share with each other, specifically for, in this case, corridor building, of the reconstitution of the eagle and the condor, a corridor of truth, peace, power, and righteousness. And so, we have these different, prototypes that, involve other folks that we've been following along with as well, and hope to be able to, like you said, combine efforts with. But once you're inside of one of these applications, it can look like this. And once you're in here, this is where we start to see what's possible with blockchain, in addition to the privacy that we mentioned, because this is something else that we're excited about getting to. And this is an era back to our ancestors of the good mind, pre-slavery and what is called work. And, we see a lot of possibilities in blockchain for creating models for systems that'll allow us to get off of money completely, but also off of any of the values that we attach to going to work in this system that we live in. And so we have three different parts to our model. We have local commons, we have public utility commons, which is a name for a loophole that we found in learning about these new technologies that can allow for some reciprocity between different layers of the model here. And then there's also this top part of the model, which is an exchange that is only on matrilineal council terms. And so instead of corrupt exchanges that we are used to, we can have an exchange that's managed by matrilineal councils and only focused on the good mind, and moving away from speculation, not just for us, but for anybody that is interested. Speculation that is normally in exchanges around the world. And so we have three wallets that someone like Desiree would be able to have themselves, again, private, their own, in a lot of cases more secure than banks. And so in this account, in this model, you not only have a local commons, but you're also, this commons is directly attached to this commons, and this commons is directly attached to the exchange with ownership, matrilineal ownership at every single level, and matrilineal councils at every single level. And so this is what we have in mind. And at the bottom here, we have some transparency ideas for all of what we're saying, a lot of maybe accounting specific stuff that Angel will be excited about one day. as she already expressed. And so we have this as well called corridor barter. And, you know, a lot of what blockchain is based around is being able to remove third parties, whether that's in your internet, but also in your exchanges. One of the things that we're excited about in some of the recent reconstitutions has been Griselda, who's been welcoming the staffs doing that important work. And she actually communicated this through chat, which she's only typing in Spanish, so I had to use Google Translate. But I figured that she said that she works in blockchain as well.
Crypto.
And she is working in remittances. And so, you know, the no third parties thing comes in huge around the world, and it's been a big reason why blockchain has survived this long, is because you can get around a lot of the fees when you're sending money back home around the world, right? And so it's exciting to hear that Griselda is working in this way, and exciting that we may be able to combine efforts. We need a translation meeting, hopefully with Edith soon. But this is a good angle to describe what we anticipate this technology also bringing to the corridor, which is, you know, a means off of conventional modes of exchange or non-native modes of exchange, and getting back to indigenous modes of exchange just by giving people the option, right? And so this is one of the things that we see is possible, and it can go all the way to the point of, you know, barter, right? You know, you can have a normal transaction like the remittances that Griselda is working on, but you can also have the option for barter. And, you know, have you know, what blockchains will allow is for a consensus agreement in between, you know, when the barter is confirmed or rejected. And so we have a little path down here showing, you know, the conventional way, but also the reestablishing of Onagora and the tracking of transactions and barter through Onagora. This illustration here is fairly, you know, special in that it could be an indicator of what we can do in terms of first getting to digital Onagora and tracking transactions with digital Onagora that maybe look similar to this, and maybe we need Longhouse help to refine just exactly how Onagora did track the different types of transactions, whether that be transactions of goods or transactions of love, transactions of agreements, and so we're excited to see how that plays out, because it could turn back into, and we hope it does, turn back into the production of physical Onagora and a system that, and systems in a corridor that can work completely off of money. And so as we go further, we're getting into what Edith talked about of what's possible in these systems, and we hope the platform can kind of be the infrastructure for, which is communication, right? Safe communication. And so, you know, we found this software that would allow us to do what we're doing right now, but on our own owned stuff and our own secure stuff. And it's pretty much just as polished as the Zoom that we're on right now. And so this is just walking us through, some of the ideas that we have. And this is a picture of how this is the actual software that, you know, we could call Corridor Chat if we wanted to. And as soon as we get the means, everybody who's communicating within the corridor can have security online, but also what's important about, you know, blockchain is the capacity to even work offline. You know, a lot of us are familiar with Google Docs. It's nice software, but if there's no internet, even if you're in the same room, you wouldn't be able to use Google Docs very well. And so one of the things that's been important to these technologies is building in the means to, you know, especially if you're in a local neighborhood or especially in the same room, able to use this software even when the internet goes down. So even before, you know, we have some ideas about being able to build our own infrastructure as well with some of the ideas we have that we haven't, you know, shown yet, but there's an in-between space there that is working offline and making sure we have the tools to work offline. And so we only have a couple more here, but I'm excited about this next one. And this is something that we've recently added. And this is something that, you know, is actually largely inspired by a project close to you, Valentina, in Chiapas. I don't know if you're familiar with a project named El Cambalache or El Cambalache. But it's they have this
Moneyless economy.
Moneyless economy that has grown in the last few years, and they use terms like invisible economy. They reference a model that these indigenous women came up with in terms of a gift economy. How, you know, poor people and indigenous folks, you know, they have commons. This is how we survive more than, you know, with money, because a lot of times we don't have money. And so I think it's grown over like, you know, over 1,200 people last time we looked in the last few years. But, you know, we also saw the ability to make invisible, you know, the normal prices or payment that you would see in non-native work systems, right? And we saw a project that talked about for an artist making invisible all of the prices for the work that they do on this online platform, and then they have a commons that everybody gets a basic, you know, income from, while they track not the who's doing the most valuable work via money, but they track what people are doing because they love to do it, what people are doing because they're excited about the innovation in the work that they're doing. And, you know, I thought this was a powerful, you know, movement away from, you know, you think about artists, right, trying to make a hit song as opposed to playing the music because you love to play it, or expanding on your knowledge of how to play the music. If you extrapolate that across industries, it seemed like it would fit as well, right? And so we have these charts that come from these women that were discussing this in terms of these different shapes that would be able to track, you know, the work people are doing in commons, or the work people are doing in midwifery, for example, not because, you know, this is valuable work money-wise or for extrinsic reasons, but because this is valuable for intrinsic reasons. And so, you know, whether you're talking about training or trade or commons, to be able to track the exchanges of love, or the exchanges of you know, for example, braiding hair, right, would be something that usually is not visible in a Western market, but is definitely one of the ultimate expressions of value that circulates in a community, right? And so for innovations in that to happen, it's important to track, maybe not by non-native standards, but by indigenous standards, maybe so. And so this final, here we go. These final 2 pages are also very exciting as well. I mentioned Google Translate. This is what we're tentatively calling Good Path Translate. And the idea is to, you know, make it as easy as possible for folks to build these systems that we're talking about, that may include, you know, the next version of industry over here. It may include indigenous artisanal craft over here, midwifery over here, birth certificates over here, unique certification over here. But, you know, folks wouldn't know that that's happening. So, you know, how do we create a runner system in a digital age that allows people to know and build their own versions of what's being built as it's being built? And so just like Google Translate, you can type in your geography, the field or discipline that you're interested in, like midwifery, the bill of materials, or BOM, that you might be needing for your local regional area, and the organization model that you have, right? So like nonprofit, for example, would be what the corridor is focused on. And then on this side, it spits out, you know, local and regional, you know, ecosystem information, right? The brothers and sisters near you that will allow you to build what you want to build. the different fields and different bill of materials that will allow you to do it sustainably, not extractively, but paying attention to the entire life cycle. And then also giving you models that, like what we showed, that will be able to, combine efforts like what you mentioned, but be able to attach it to something that will allow these efforts to be self-sustainable and, more importantly, autonomous, right? So this is just a brief look at what I just described there. Wicked is a reference to interdisciplinary design. So people in design are saying that, we have wicked problems in this crazy world today. So we need wicked solutions, right? I think it's kind of, with all the witchcraft reference, it's kind of appropriate in the sense in that, it's just a reference to, a lot of what you mentioned in terms of trying to collaborate with as many different efforts as possible, but also fields of know-how as possible. And here's the last page. And this is important because it's, it can plug right into the good path page, in that all of the data that, say, for example, we begin to collaborate on building out a midwife system of some kind, all of that data is valuable research and development. Edith can be translating between, 4 different languages, including indigenous language in these documents. By today's standards, that's already valuable data, right? And so the type of data that we're doing, there's a lot of the type of data that will be produced just in collaborations by, folks that, call themselves looking for sustainable development goals. But we know, because there's no indigenous dialogue, they're not so sustainable. This type of data, right, important that it stays on matrilineal terms, but is even seen valuable by the non-native in these times, and will allow for a nonprofit structure in this new technology that will allow for, these different efforts that we all have to be combined, but also be self-sufficient with proper infrastructure for trade and more. And so we also have here that, you're able to download all of the technology that we're using to pull all of this off at every different level of the model. And that's the design that we have so far. But there's also some, important things that we have in mind in the way of what they call digital fabrication, which is an important part of the, I don't think so, the project as well. And this is what we're referencing when we say, different, the next version of industry and trade. And so this Life Giver is a pretty good example of what we've been seeing for the last year that amazes us every time that we see these different things. This is a training network that has 2,000 different areas around the world where folks are working in these ways of, trying to invent a way out of this mess. And we've been watching these women pretty much invent anything that they want for the last 2 years, and we don't really see anything that they can't invent in the near future. This is a pretty good example of systems design too, in that a lot of these women are not just trying to design, something better than plastic, which takes 20 years to make, that gives us nothing but pollution. But folks can take less than a year and with the right design mind and the right intention, come up with pretty amazing things like this. And I'll skip through to how she does this, because there's a lot of machine building that goes on in this network, along with coding. Attempts to get back to indigenous modes of material development for construction. But this is a unique take on how some of the machines don't look like machines at all. In fact, a lot of the women, they try to make their machines look as least like machines as possible. And some of the things that we're seeing, especially nowadays, is they're focusing heavily on being able to build essentially micro factories from their homes, with whether it's material development or even, like I said, machine building. There's also, you know, things that are common to indigenous design, like natural dyes and this such. And so this is some of the exciting things that, you know, we can't show all of today, but there's definitely a lot going on, as you see here. I can show one more that is a pretty good example of what we can incorporate into these systems as well. In terms of everything is full life cycle from an indigenous perspective. So the capacity to include material archives for local and regional areas that can then be traded throughout the corridor is a possibility no matter what field you're talking about, because everything starts with a Mother Earth, no matter what you're speaking on. And so this is an example of where designers are moving to instead of, you know, a scientist in a lab. They're very much keen on being able to touch and document touching and playing and tinkering with the materials as they create them, documenting it, but also showing you, you know, exactly how the material moves. Being able to share these materials around the world is something that they're looking into, so you can do what this woman is doing, which is feel and touch and get to know the material, so the material can tell you what you can do with it. And so, you know, there's a lot of excitement, even in some of the most unexpected areas, similar to healthcare. Ideas that we have for certification in terms of loopholes, or not necessarily, you know, not looking to, you know, corporate folks, but looking to the actual generators of value on the ground, that, you know, actually are the ones circulating value. And if you, you know, expose them to the nationhood status and to a wampum, you know, this is more important than having the money, right? You have the people who have the skills, who have the knowledge that can be shared with you and your local community. And so we'll stop here, but there's I can keep going for days, and I hope we can, in terms of collaborating and really seeing all the different pieces that can come together with, you know, our efforts with systems, but especially, you know, just like you're looking for guidance with the grandmothers, we're very much, we don't want to take one step without, you know, dialogue and guidance from the Longhouse. And if we're doing anything midwives related, you're not taking one step without guidance, dialogue with yourself and the grandmothers, obviously. But Namagola, thank you for the long time. And let Desiree talk if she wants to.
Oh, you hit it all, so.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the first time when we started talking about this, as you know, I couldn't grasp any of it. We do know there's this thing called the internet, and we know it's digital. We know a little bit about it, but then we do know, like, the stuff that we do as humans. We know that somewhere there is an interface between these two. And until we discover it, we don't really know what it is, what it could be. But I really like the terminology you used about the product, that you said, where the product will tell us what it's for or how to use it. This is precisely what is happening through this process. The more, each time that we talk, each time that you give these presentations, I can see a little bit more and more of how it could be applied to specific things. For me, I'm looking at, and I'm sure Valentina is thinking, how the hell can this benefit us? What can we do with it? You know?
No, she says that she's dreaming.
There's we see all kind of things that could be possible. Really, the most of it would be for awareness. That's what I see the most of it. Like really only maybe in any given circumstance, it would only be two people actually who are interacting. Maybe it'll be somebody where you're at, Harold, and with somebody where Valentina is at. It really only be those two interacting, but that interaction is what is the education process, like just about like in relation to the material, telling us what it's for, how it can be used. This process is the same thing. So I see it as that it's really for education. But in the whole way that you identify how anybody could get onto it, you know, like you log onto it, we are going to have the three warning system applied. That in order to keep integrity, in order to keep something, to keep the integrity of a corridor of truth, we are going to have the three warning system that anybody who is found to be, you know, spreading lies or just gossip or whatever, that we're going to have a three warning system on them, that in three violations, they are removed out of the system. And this way, we can keep that everybody in the system will ensure that the system is always just fact, never any speculation, never any of that stuff. Yeah, so for Valentina, what I was seeing is that like for the internet, if we see this thing established, you know, like how is it gonna make it easy for me here to interact with you? Because for me here, the only way I would interact with you would be if if my wife, my girlfriend, or somebody is having a baby, and then I would just have to have interaction with you. Now, this already happened, correct, with
Chelsea.
With Chelsea. So it would be just a matter of how it would be made more mainstream, more accessible to anybody. So really right now, I'll just leave it right there because it's just, I see it going to that level. And right now, I really don't see beyond that. It's the hill that we're going over right now. But I do know that we're going to get over that hill, and it will be. It will show us how we're going to use it, like what you identified, Al. Anyways, Nyawagoa, that presentation was excellent. Each time it helps more and more to visualize. It's almost like as if we're able to build a 3D concept in our mind, a model of it. So yeah, Nyawagoa.
I will have a quick question, maybe if I can. What is that STEAM?
Oh yeah.
It's specifically for education. So like we said, a lot of what you saw on the webpage there is just ideas that, you know, are not our own, but these are things that Longhouse has already been doing. You know, the workshops with the kids, translated to the platform, and some of the things we're thinking about that can be in systems. STEAM, it stands for science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. And we've seen a lot of, you know, integration of indigenous modes of production, and, you know, all of those different, you know, fields I just said that make up the acronym STEAM. And so we have, you know, systems in mind where, you know, there can be, you know, collaboration, online collaboration, like what you guys wanted to do with the workshops. And so, you know, a lot of what the Longhouse is already doing is, you know, already a feature that you can say, you know, you can provide on the platform. And so STEAM is just, you know, if it takes you know, a little bit more to get in through the K through 12 or even college education levels. We've seen that done. We've seen it happen at the college level. We've seen them do it at the kindergarten level. And, you know, in whether it's, you know, specific to indigenous modes or if it's some of that, you know, digital fabrication stuff that we hinted at a little bit. We've even seen kindergartners do some of that stuff, make, you know, little, you know, robots that, you know, is essentially not robots, but it's just air and some of those bioplastics that you saw. And, you know, they're teaching kids how to do it. And so we're excited about, you know, all of the possibilities there with this theme.
So in the terms of, let's say, applying this to the midwifery with Valentina, when you were describing that part, is like, you know, like images come. So let's say Valentina with the network that she's working with, I don't know, let's say there's 100 different midwives in all different territories. So let's say that they could like kind of like subscribe, I mean, let's say enter their information saying, I am Valentina, I am located in San Cristobal de las Casas, I am a midwife that is like a self-certification with this organization, let's say. And so anybody that would need, let's say, a consultation online or like maybe looking for a midwife locally in the region, they could go and search for that kind of resource, if you want to say it, on the platform. And that could be like a way of that could function.
Yes, of course. Like we showed that chat app, right? And it allows for video chat, just like this, video conferencing. And so if this is something that the midwives wanted, if it's something that Valentina was comfortable with doing in their local and regional area, of course you could do it. And most importantly, no one will be able to take it from you, right? So especially for the emergency situation that they're in down there, you know, if any governments, you know, decided to call Zoom and say, look, we don't want these women training women for whatever political reason, you know, BS, right? They could, you know, Zoom could just make that, you know, make that cut, and you no longer have the connection to expose people to the beautiful things that Valentina has showed us that the world is in danger of losing. And she showed us the emotion of losing these beautiful women with this beautiful knowledge. And so being able to say that, look, we have our hands on every piece that makes this technology go, from the servers to the application software, and you know all of it is done by us, and you know it can't be taken from us, you know, outside of, you know, cutting internet connection or more violent things, you know. So this is a powerful concept in itself. When it comes to if you are going to go down that road of video conferencing for training, which we feel like, you know, you can even add another protective layer in terms of the Tua Wampum process that we have every week. You know, just to be on the safe side, you know, there's the security of it not being able to be taken away from you, which is a threat, especially if people are using the services or training. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for the questions. It's all things that, of course, I forget to mention. There's so much to mention.
Well, while you're talking, Valentina, I don't know if this is something that you think is possible, but while he was talking, this is what I seen, is that, okay, just imagine you're in a birth. You're doing a birth wherever you're at. Say you're in the middle of the forest somewhere. And maybe you do have access to internet. That sometimes we know that there are hard births. Sometimes we know that ahead of time you can tell that it's going to be hard. So perhaps something like this, that when you have the different midwives throughout the different territories all connected, logged on, that perhaps in this one hard birth, you could have like somebody off to the side of where the birth is taking place, kind of like giving a class, identifying what is taking place right now. And then if you get into a hard spot, identifying what the hard spot is, And then maybe someone in that network of midwives might know one tiny little trick that they could offer right then and there that maybe would assist there on the ground, or maybe just by this network of people right then and there, it becomes an a classroom, an educational classroom, where the people could be like in a real life scenario of just like troubleshooting, like saying, okay, this is what's happening, what can be done here at this time, you know, like just as again, just as an information knowledge sharing thing. Anyways, this is what I seen as something that could be possible from there. But of course, it comes down to you, Valentina, as to what level of comfort you have in what level of exposure. You know, how much exposure can you afford to have? So, but then again, it could come down to that no matter what. Like, it could always just be your silhouette image again, you know. So anyways, that's my question to you, Valentina. How do you see how this can benefit you, and how much are you feeling comfortable with how much exposure?
Uh-huh. Really, what I was looking through this platform or this project was kind of like amazing, because of course we want to reconstitute ourselves and rebuild a system where we can connect with many things. No, it's not just the midwifery, the health in some part, the economics in some part, the politics, but everything how it's related and connected through yeah, like the law of peace. No, here it says the lekilkush lehal, no, so the system where that goes with the life, with the creation that protects life. No, so in these times, I see everything kind of trying to be connected in some way, and seeing this platform was for me because I'm not very into this, to the internet and stuff, no. So I see something like, whoa, was a very amazing. And I need to say that I've been very resistant with technologies until a few months ago. I always, I don't know, I was very resistant, but now I've been understanding so many things, and how important really is to give your voice and to connect with other people. And we've been yes, so I am very excited, very excited, very happy, and congratulations, because it's a lot of commitment also again, and imagination. No, that's something that we really need in this world, to imagine and to bring this imagination and these dreams to a physical form, and even this not that physical still, it's something that we feel it, you know, it's something that brings, that everybody can feel it, no. And I will need to, of course, to understand again and again how it works, because like I say, I am not very much in the programations, but it looks like a really safe and beautiful platforms to share information. I feel very safe there in the way is presented. And yes, I would love to know more how we can participate. I see many ways. I'm not sure what just Stuart say, that we are in the moment we are going to tap, and I don't know, like but we don't know in these times in these times that where technology is taking a lot of place in our lives. So who knows if we are really going to have this interaction with a midwife during but of course we will need to interact it with the midwives. I see that we've been talking that we are present, we are, ¿cómo se dice, Edith? Tenemos ahora la última generación de abuelas parteras. We
currently have the last generation of grandmothers.
Traditional indigenous traditional midwives. See, we are facing this seriously. It's very, very strong, sad, but yes, I see there is so many things that we will keep talking, and I want to maintain the enthusiasm because we will need to transmit it in many other ways. But yes, the grandmothers that we still have now, the midwives, is the last generation. I'm very sorry to say that. They're gonna come another generations with another connections. Pero, well, no, I don't want to say that, but it's a very important generation that is passing. No, of course there is another new generations like me and like other youngers that will come, but in another time, in another way, energetically in many ways, and even in the community, because the communities are changing a lot. So so there are many things that we will keep talking and feeling together. But these grandmothers, they are in some way, many of them, they are old, they are not that old, but they have so many, they want to give us everything, like they feel this need to share and to pass the information to the youngers. And it's very important to prepare these women, these youngers, no? The daughters of the midwives, they go on lineage. Many of them were kept in some organizations to become professional midwives, no? They give the one strategy is to give them kind of scholarships for them to go and study midwifery with medical doctors and schools, no? So that was the woman, the youngers, from the lineage. It's very strategically, they were going to them to give them scholarships and all kind of facilities for them to go into the health system. And the good news, because there is many more women that are awakening and they want to work with the. I'm not saying that the midwifery is over, of course. No. But I'm saying this generation of this indigenous grandmother, is the last generation. That's what I want to say. No, there is a continuation, but this continuation is a different continuation. It's another generation, no? With another. Even geographically, even in the context, is different, no? So many things. So we will, transmission is very important. No? Today transmission is very important. Coming together with all kind transmission is very important, but we need to first to transmit the knowledge, because here, for example, they say that they have secrets. No, they will not give it to everybody. No, to the secrets, they need to pass through some levels of understanding about life, about protection, about nature, about many things, so they can little by little give them information. No? They are not going to just give a web conference and give all their knowledge, because many of the youngers, they take the knowledge and then they will go to any part of the world to to give workshop of Mexican traditional midwifery, and they will sell the workshops and they will put all the knowledge into the market, you know, like many things that we see there is happening. So, but it's not just because that, it's not just because that, it's because the comprehension is more important than the technique, and we are not going there and copy the way the midwife does. No, they want to transmit and awaken your own gift, because everybody has their own gift, you know. So the way they will share it is the way you can awake your connection, your gift to dawn, and through that connection you will know how to do it, right? Because, for example, I have a teacher, and she sometimes explain me in her language some things to do it, yeah. But I know that I cannot copy that, because it's her numbers, is her communication energetically, is, she says specifically give 13 seeds of corn, 12, like she uses numbers, she uses recipes, but she is her medicine. If I am copying this, I'm taking these seeds, I know it's not going to work because maybe someday, no? But for the moment, is the knowledge that she carries, is the energy she carries that connect with these numbers of corn, that numbers of different medicine, no? So for myself now is to understand the origin of many things, to release and to develop my own practice, you know, because we cannot copy others' practice because it's very, I mean, we can, but it's not going to work sometimes, you know. There are specific things that we, of course, we need to understand the physiology of the birth and stuff like that, right? So every midwife is different. So they cannot go to the school, you know, like they cannot go to the school is the life, the school is the community, the school is the communication with the nature and with the women, of course, having their experience for them to understand their gift and how the gift can be put in service with the women and the families. And that's why it's going to be very interesting how we can develop like a training or like a way to share this knowledge, and not giving just recipes or not just giving kind of like indications and you know, so something more deeply to connect and to understand, because all of us, we need to pass through a process of reconstitution. We need all of us pass through a process of very deep understanding, you know, to come into the service of life. And ay, creo que se quedó muy preocupado Stuart con lo que dije.
She said that you were very worried with what I just said.
Sí, pero bueno, o sea, yeah, we are defending, but we well, so many things to talk, you know. But I am interested too, because I see you guys are very visual, you know, and very kind of, you organize things together, and that's sometimes what we need, right? For us to organize things and put it there and see, for example, which could be kind of the process to, for example, I'm talking about women who wants to connect with the midwifery, right? So these young women who live in different cities, or not even young, sorry, any kind of woman, yeah, who live in this city or in a place where there is no a midwife, right? So how they will connect with the midwifery. So to explore this path that is not just giving into the hands everything like this, because it will not have the connection, right? So we can kind of do a design, an exploration, and also it needs to go through politics, and it needs to go through a deep understanding about culture and things like that, no? Because midwifery actually is, for me right now, is an art. It's como un arte, no? It's an art that connects everything, but finally you build something unique, you know? Something where you are in the disposition to witness and accompany the transformation of a woman and a family, of course. Lastly, in the last consultations that we have, we don't plan anything. We don't have like we don't have any kind of, you know, we just open and shoo, everything goes, no? Everything is, so I see it's an art that is an invisible art, maybe because it's yourself that you put the space and everything moves, no? So that's the midwives. Yeah, it's very beautiful. It's very connected with so many things. That's why we love it, because it's community, it's family, is the new generation also, no? How this new generation, and also I would like to share, I am connecting a lot about, ¿cómo se diría? Crianza respetuosa, crianza activa, como la forma de acompañar a los niños.
To raise the children in a very respectful and conscious way.
So we are involving ourselves also in the educational, but not necessarily in institutions, right? So how to really accompany the life that we, you know, like it's not just the baby born, bye-bye, but also to accompany this process and to provide information for the family, because this family is also, they will face a world, institutional world that doesn't match with them, you know. Sí, pues es mucho, pero.
That's a lot.
I'm gonna share. I'll share a scenario with you. Something that. Sorry. I don't have my water either. Something that we're confronted with on a worldwide scale. Everybody is confronted with this. I'm gonna share a little something. What you some of you know, I just posted this post last night after the Zoom. After we were finished the Zoom last night, I went and I checked out the news, and I found this thing. It was hidden away in the news. I got a cherry peeling stuck in my throat. Anyways, it was a very small story. And this is the story. It's in Australia, where they're passing a law right now where any woman who is raped, she cannot speak of it, or else she will be facing criminal charges. Now, this is the law that the state has handed down, that the state is creating. Now, this is in Australia. There's a lot of crazy things going on in Australia right now that the world isn't really aware of. Just like right now in Guatemala or Honduras or Mexico. There's a lot of crazy things going on that the world is not aware of. Okay, but when we take all of these crazy things that are happening everywhere, we add them together, and it paints a very unsettling picture for humanity. Excuse me. We're going in a direction. It is definitely clear. We're going down a slippery slope. We're losing our humanity. The human experience is being compromised in every aspect of our lives. But the ultimate target of this is the women, is the life givers. It is the mother. It's the life rejuvenation process that is under attack. So this is a scenario I'll paint for you of what I see, what I believe we're going to be looking at within the next 2 years. Imagine we're on the run, and none of us have like a real connection to each other. We're on the run as individuals. And in that time, as humanity is going to be on the run, there's going to be many women, multitudes of women who are going to be on their own. We know that right now, there are multitudes of women who are on their own right now. There is an ugly reality that we're all becoming aware of more and more every day as to just how bad the living conditions are getting for women. We know that more and more that earlier Edith and I were talking, and I said this to Edith. I said, if you are a woman, a girl in this world, and you haven't been raped or violated in some way, consider yourself to be extremely lucky. This is the unfortunate reality of what is right now. But as we look at how the society is devolving, how it's rapidly becoming unraveled, the fabric of humanity is becoming unwoven. And so this means that no matter how bad it's going to get in the world, it's going to become the negative upon women is going to exponentialize. No matter how bad it's going to look for men, it will always be worse for women, always. So we're going to see people on the run. We're going to see women on the run who, in the process of being on the run, just for their survival, just to try to survive, there's going to be a woman, there's going to be lots of women who are going to be without any kind of medical care whatsoever, without any grandmothers. They are not going to have access to anybody while they are going to be on their own, trying to give birth to their own children. And in the process, I'll say to you now, many women are going to die. That will happen. Now, it does not have to happen. We could train, you could train the women to survive on their own. They do not need men to survive, but the men are creating the circumstances, the conditions that makes it impossible for the women to survive. And so when we see the life process, if we, just for example's sake, if it starts from step one and it grows to this height, then we see men attacking the life process right from the top all the way down to the root. So the root where the life process takes place, babies being born into the world. This is where we have to scramble to give the knowledge, to make accessible to women everywhere, the ones that are feeling alone, even right in the inner cities. Most women today, and as we know, women of color, women of ethnicity in inner cities are afraid to go to hospitals. They don't want to go to hospitals for either reason, either they don't have the money or else for some kind of fear of that once they're in the hospital that the system will just take their baby anyways. And so we see women being attacked on this level more and more. This is what we have to accommodate. You have to accommodate not what you see right now, because what we see right now, it's not gonna stay this way. It is not improving and it is not staying at the status quo. It is continuously getting worse. This is the reality we have to deal with. And so we have to look at what the women are going to be facing, not right now, what they're going to be facing in a year from now, 2 years from now. Are we going to allow women around the world to be found in the wilderness dead with a baby, with an infant, maybe half inside of them, or maybe the baby on the ground and both of them dead? Are we going to want to be dealing with that? Or we could deal with it in advance and give them the tools that they will need to just to have a fighting chance at survival. This is what we're looking at, what we have to do, how we have to, unfortunately, prepare women around the world for what is coming their way. You think women around the world think right now that things are okay. You know, as much oppression there is, as much rape and prostitution and human trafficking and all of this, and yet we believe that it's okay. But the fact is that, again, it is only worsening. So this is the reason why I say to you, Valentina, that imagine, again, maybe you are not in the birthing process, but maybe there is a woman who has access to internet and she is maybe in the inner city. Maybe she's on a mountaintop and she's alone by herself and she's going to have to give birth to her own child and she's alone, not even with anybody, even just that she could talk to, just to tell her, don't worry, you have the strength. You are a woman, you can do it. The only people who can do that, maybe they can hear that from a man, big deal. A woman in that process hearing it from a man, I'm sure she'd probably just want to slap that guy in the head and get him the hell out of the way. But to hear it from another woman who this is her path, this is her calling, to do this, to ensure that the true thing, what you are identifying, what we are about to lose. What we are about to lose means, like what you were saying, the next generation that is here, they're going to be here, but they're going to be here under a new program. The old thing is going to be lost. So we have to make sure that that old thing is going to be filtered to all of the memory of our Mother Earth. And all the memory of our Mother Earth is all the women. They need to have this memory back, put back into their head about that birthing process to whatever degree you can. I am not saying like sell trade secrets, so to speak, you know. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we have to give all the women who are going to be in that position a fighting chance. If we don't, we're going to be kicking ourselves in the ass later on for knowing that, well, we could have possibly given people information that was crucial to them. But when we did have the chance, we maybe just scuttlebutted around a little bit and we didn't. Now, I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen. I do know that we all end up seeing each other in the same place and time as these things are happening. They will come into being, like what Harold said. It will show us when it's time. It will show us how it will be done. And we may be compelled to do something that right now we may be saying, no, I don't want to do. We will see that we will have to get up and take action further than what any of us are taking right now. So I'll leave it at that. This is a possibility to just see this. Women midwives lined up throughout the hemisphere, just as a safety precaution that, you know, that, okay, that one midwife that's there, she knows how to handle it. And even that mother that's giving birth, she knows, maybe she's been through it before. But to have that backup of all of that knowledge throughout the hemisphere, should something so unique happen, a unique circumstance in the birthing process where a unique bit of information is not available to that woman who's there assisting, that's when you'll need to tap into that data bank of all the midwives throughout the hemisphere. So it wouldn't really hurt. The way that I see it, you would need to have now, you would have to recruit not so much a midwife, of course, somebody who is believing it 100%, but somebody who is on the technical side. You will need somebody who understands when you say something about midwifery, what it means, and she could communicate immediately via the internet with others who may be able to offer valuable information instantaneously. This is the possibility of what Harold is talking about, of what we could offer to the people. And like he said, it would be completely secure. Whereas, like right now, let's say if you were in that scenario, maybe, let's say, Washington State is in complete lockdown and nobody has free movement. Women cannot move freely. They cannot get to see their doctor. They cannot get to the hospital to give birth. This is the emergency network established to deal with circumstances that women are being confronted with. Anyways, that's where I see this thing going. The bigness of it is, the potential of it is vast. I'll just leave it there for you to consider, of really that, just like here, when we had to stand against casinos, when we had to stand against all the corruption, the violence, we knew that our lives were in danger. We knew people tried to kill us. It did not matter. We knew what we had to do. We had to stand out there in the public. Otherwise, there was no legitimacy to us. And now here we are. The Ganyagahaga Nation went like this, down to nothing. My father is dead now, and we are this now. But yet, from here, we are able to push back all the areas of colonization that all the other peoples in all their organizations and structures cannot even begin to do. But yet, we are able to begin it here because we know the path, the direction we're going. And that is the direction. All women, whether you want to believe it or not, this is what is in store for women on our Mother Earth. Women are going to be on the run. You, what you are, your identity of life giver, is what is under attack. And so we must come out in a very big way, in a very advertise it, billboards, neon signs. So much so we have to be so loud that, yes, the people will want to kill us, but we will be so loud and so pronounced that they will not be able to. The same way that it happened with my family. It is a reality. When you are standing in integrity, everybody in the world is going to want to kill you, but the integrity is what will keep you alive. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't know really if we can go any further on this. I know that most likely Valentina is going to need more exposure to this the same way that we did, just to get us to this stage of where I don't even know if I'm really understanding it the way that I'm seeing, like the way I just described. But if that ain't the way it is, what I'm seeing, then that's the way we got to make it. Yeah. So Valentina, you know that we support you 100%. There is nothing that we won't do within our power to support and to try to send whatever your way to assist you in this endeavor. All their actions that were taken, it's like you can say, all we are is just the shell. You are the yolk on the inside of the egg. We are the shell, protecting. You've got to do the work on the inside. That's what we count on you for. You count on us to be the hard outer shell. Yeah, we'll go. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you kindly. Yeah, I'll just be brief. Thank you kindly for all of the input from everybody. Any other closing comments are always welcome. And yeah, just to touch on a few things mentioned, you know, particularly about, the last generation of grandmothers, and, some of the ways that we're excited for, that we've seen, indirect ways that the technology can affect local indigenous communities. One community in particular in Peru, we saw a pulling together of the generations because the older generations had this knowledge of textiles, and the younger generation was pulled into that knowledge through some of the technology that was happening in the particular case that we're thinking of. And it gave the knowledge that much more endurance, or passed it to the next generation, when maybe that generation would have went into a more professional or non-native system. And some of the ways that we've seen the indirect way that technology can affect the generation to generation cultural endurance is addressing the last generation thing. We saw a particular case in Japan where the grandmothers, as they're getting older, they weren't able to pass on the tradition of sewing kimonos because it was too arduous on their hands. And so there was a Japanese student who, with the technology, created, all of these different elaborate cuts in fabric, so that the grandmothers, instead of sewing, could just, put the kimonos together in puzzle pieces, and they were all interchangeable, and they could still do, different designs that, that they would normally, come up with their imagination, because there are different colors for the different shapes to the puzzle pieces. But it, you could create and then put together an entire kimono design, and it's also a way for the grandmothers to pass on the imagination, the understanding of that art of kimono making, right? And there's also, other indirect possibilities, I'm sure, of tying the generations together, and ensuring that the comprehension over technique, right, is passed on to the next generations. And we're excited to continue these conversations and to get to know some of those cultural details that I know are important, and some of those political details that I know are important, that we've kind of, from what you've said before, looked into ourselves and kind of got just the surface of, I'm sure, of what is dealt with on the ground there. But I'm sure these issues will also give us some creativity for what's possible, right? Getting closer with interacting with you in the future will, I'm sure, give us some ideas that we haven't had yet. And so we're excited about these future conversations and interactions. And just like the material needs tinkering in order to figure out what it can be used for. That's very much how we see all of these different systems right now, right? They're very small, may just be the people here building them out. But as local communities and ourselves tinker with these ideas and with building these things out, they'll grow organically and tell us what's possible through us interacting together and playing with these system designs, like you were talking about, in terms of how can we figure out that balance that we need to figure out. And one of the things that just to touch on a little bit of what Stuart was saying as well, in terms of what we can do in these current times, these crazy times. I think it's powerful, just in some of the model stuff that in the tech, some of the stuff we can talk about in future conversations. The ability for the indigenous midwives to do what they're already doing, with the protection that they can still do it, or that the generations after them will be able to continue doing it, is a big step of more, right? Being able to see a good path for that happening, you know, without adding too much more onto, you know, what we're all doing, that is a big thing to do in terms of actually being able to see the details of how the faces yet beneath the earth will be able to get, you know, the knowledge of how to build a longhouse, the knowledge of how to be a midwife. If we can put these things in place in the systems, designs, the seeds that we plant, this will be a beautiful thing. Even if we aren't able to, you know, reach as many people as possible right away. These small things, even in the, you know, seeds are tiny, but they produce everything around us. And so if we think like this in these small versions of what we're doing, I think we'll be okay. And I'm excited for collaboration with anybody here and anybody listening in the future if this is being recorded. And so now we're going, and yeah, I'll stop there.
Mm-hmm.
So Valentina, we'll give you the last word on this. You see what your assessment is, and you know, even though I may say what I see, it doesn't mean that okay, this is where we have to be right now. Of course, we're saying we're going over there, and to get over there, we're going to be a quarter of the way. We're going to be half of the way. We're going to be 3/4 of the way. But as long as we maintain the course of getting there, we can never just be stationary, sedentary, and accept being just that. Because as we are just sedentary, the rest of the world is falling apart at a quickened rate. So, yeah, just to say, I'm happy with any movement that we make as long as we are in motion, as long as we are making movement. We don't have to be from point A to point B immediately. We know that we're all going to move at a different pace. Our vehicles or whatever isn't going to move at the same rate. Some of us have more weight to carry with us. So yeah, we're here to identify that whatever you're comfortable with, that's what we're all here to assist in and to work with you on whatever level you are comfortable with, that the midwives are comfortable with. Yeah, we'll go. There you go, Valentina.
Bueno, no sé más que decir. Estoy muy cansada. Tuve un día muy intenso. What I was saying in Spanish is that I have a really long day. It's very much in motion. And right now I'm kind of like, my energy is going down. But of course, what I received today, this gift of looking this design, is something that, like Stuart says, like putting pieces, you know, like the design is there and how we are going to put the pieces one by one, because I see there is so many structure there and we need to be prepared and to put everything in there, no, to fulfill this beautiful thing that for of course needs to come from everybody. And also when I understand a little bit more, because I would like to go deeper with this, of course I would love to share it with my teachers and the midwives, the grandmothers, because of course we need their support, even if they are not going to be coming to the conferences and stuff. At least they know, they understand what is going on, you know, and if they have some suggestions or ideas also, so I will be very happy to share it. And you know, yes, so I will love like going again deeper and understand better the system. I just received some description, I guess, this one that says to Wampum development, and to understand better so I can communicate it to the grandmothers. Because now with all that you presented from, I still need to digest again, no? Like I say, if I have some resistance, I'm opening to these technologies, and I know they are very, very important. But of course, I will need to learn a lot of things. Sí. That's all what I want to say. I just want to greet everybody here also for the support. Super.
I'll suggest to you that you try to find somebody who is more tech savvy than they are midwife. Someone who can work with you, but who is of the mind of midwife, but who is tech savvy, who can maybe help assist to guide you through this, because that's the help that we had in grasping this with Harold.
Cuando dice tech savvy es alguien que conozca acerca de las tecnologías del internet y del web.
Okay, so
que sea también, que trabaje también con la partería o aparte. Que justo
no, pero que tenga entendimiento de ella. Digo, igual no necesita trabajar directamente, pero que entienda el trabajo que ustedes están haciendo.
Sí. Okay.
Well, if that's good for everybody, if there's nothing left, Harold, Desiree, that you have, Valentina, if there's nothing left, then we'll close it.
Can I just say something? I just want to say about what you said, Stuart, that in a year from now, maybe the woman's going to be alone in the wood and everything. It's already happening. We're seeing all babies being dropped in the garbage. It's like, I just made a quick search on Google. There's like, thousands of pages regarding that subject. So it's already there. I don't want to put any pressure on Valentina. I'm sorry for that. But, maybe we should have like a button where those women's are in emergency situation and they just go on their phone and they click there and they're taken care of. But I mean, that would be a magic wand dream, but it's already there.
Yeah. See, no, and I like the idea that when we gather with, you remember Edith, her name, the pregnant woman, Chelsea. See, for example, these exchanges online that we can do with pregnant women, with midwives, for example, that was very beautiful, very simple, and very nourishing for everybody. Mm-hmm.
This is what the world needs to see. I'll tell you, I need to see that. Not that I have to be there live, but if, just for example's sake, at night, when I'm surfing the internet, and I see that, and I see that humanity is coming back through that. This is the things that we need to show all the people of the world, where we here in this hemisphere are working to return humanity, where in other areas, other areas of the world where really, truly people are waiting for this type of lead from the people here. Anyways, very good. Nothing else, then we will close. All right. Very good. Oh, before we do, are we gonna give a potential date for the next conference like this? I know I know Valentina's got to be very busy, so I won't say let's look at it in the next 2 weeks. Valentina, what is your schedule? Are you free within the next moon? Is there a time that you think would be best for you to do this again?
Sí. Bueno, we have some, we are finishing this manual. We are working on some workshop for shops that a midwife is going to give to the youngers. We are very, very excited for that. And we are accompanying some persons. So it depends, but I don't know. I can just accommodate, and we can meet in 2 weeks. Could be 2 weeks is okay for me. today Thursday, in the next 2 weeks. How do you say? In the same
Okay.
hour is
Okay.
yeah.
So there's the 17th. The 17th is Thursday in 2 weeks.
17th.
The day after our dream world.
Oh, really? 17th?
The 10th.
Is
The 10th.
No, no,
10th?
10th. Ajá, 10.
Okay.
Ah, qué bueno.
Desiree,
Okay.
Desiree and Harold, is that a good time to you? Is that acceptable for you?
Yes, same time, 2 weeks from now, Thursday.
This is exciting. We can't believe it. Wow.
Okay, same bat time, same bat channel. Then we just do the closing then. Valentina,
Ajá.
how do you feel about doing the closing?
¿En Spanish?
Any way you're comfortable.
Bueno, a ver. Pues así, agradeciendo mucho la energía de este día. Nos juntó el día de hoy, que nos ayudó a encontrar nuevas vías de tejido, que nos ayudó a abrir nuestras mentes, nuestras neuronas, nuestro corazón, para que podamos sentirnos presentes, para que nos podamos sentir conectados con la vida a través de la ancestralidad, a través de las leyes, de la paz, a través de la conexión de la vida que nos permite estar todavía aquí sobre la tierra. Agradecer mucho a todas las abuelas que sin saber sabiendo están aquí presentes, acompañándonos, y agradecer mucho también a las nuevas generaciones que están trayendo, que estamos trayendo y que están trayendo pues una visión muy importante para este tiempo, para trascender, para encontrar nuevas formas de comunicarnos y encontrarnos desde la vida y desde la paz. Y así doy gracias a la vida, a la Madre Tierra, doy gracias a la Luna, a la Abuela Luna, doy gracias a todas las madres y padres de esta, que sostienen la vida, que nos sostienen. Agradezco muchísimo a la Casa Larga por todo su trabajo. Agradezco mucho a todos los linajes que nos acompañan para estar aquí vibrando, para estar aquí conectados desde un lugar de mucha fuerza, de mucha vida y de mucho corazón. Skenenkoa.
Ah! Mucho gusto! Look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks, everybody.
Love you, everybody. It was nice.
Me dio energía.
Qu'est-ce que tu dis, Elsa?
Vas-tu, Céline, vas-tu à la maison longue?
Vas-tu à la maison longue en fin de semaine?
Okay.